mind.
information you want. That's for sure. But you have to have the time, the time to be able to investigate it all. So
Well,
that's the difficult part.
if you 1 hour that you are in front of TV to see a crime movie, you can use 1 hour per day to study or read a book, a science book, and then you can be assured that it is better invested time.
Yeah, I don't watch TV at all.
Oh, okay.
The other thing, yeah, I don't really. I basically I'm listening to great guys like you on Tangelo. I don't waste my time on TV. My God, why would I do that? No,
Yeah, I mean,
really,
keep
I'm
doing
being
keep
honest.
doing
I'm being
that.
honest. I'll either be reading or doing this. That's about it.
Yeah, there are some very good YouTube channels where there are these debates and live streams and so forth, and you are following them, and I think that's a good way to go.
Yes, yes. Hi, Brenda. How are you? I have never been on a stream with you.
Good afternoon or good morning.
Hey, hello, Brenda.
Good morning.
Welcome. Yeah, good morning.
I've always admired your views, Brenda.
Oh, okay.
I've heard you on many streams. I've been in this community. I'm not well known at all. Obviously, I don't go on the live chats at all. Very little, but yeah, I've heard many of your conversations. I've listened to many of your debates, and I agree with a lot of things you have to say.
Oh, okay.
So what's up, Brenda?
Nothing. I'm just kind of bored this morning.
Okay. Yeah, is there something that did you listen to our stream? Is there something that um
No, I just joined it. I hadn't listened to it before.
oh, okay. Okay. All right.
So what are you talking about?
Um well, we touched about on several things, wasn't it, Lori, about beginning of the universe, evolution, what else? About uh, a framework to
Yeah,
investigate origins, epistemology.
yeah.
Yeah,
We pretty much touched on everything. We talked about time for quite a while with the other guys, with Bruce and P. Myers, and that's a real confusing conversation. That's for sure. When you start
yeah.
talking about that,
Time is a
that's
very difficult
yeah,
topic.
yeah. That's really hard to understand. Yeah,
Yeah,
Well, time is just, one damn thing after another.
that's right.
yeah. You can have a thing after another if you have change. If you don't have change, you can't have a thing after another.
Well, that's just what time is change.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Essentially,
It's another dimension of space. Space has X, Y, Z, and time.
yeah. Space time. They put it always together.
Yes.
Yeah, but um, Leo, he came up with that thing that he thinks that block time is true. There are two theories of time. That's A time and B time. And uh, B time is when we propose that there is one moment after the other. And A time or block time is the proposition that everything is just happens or is at the same time, that there is no past, present, and future. And he claims that that is a proven fact, but I cannot imagine
Yeah.
that past doesn't exist, that past is still present. I mean, what is in the past has passed, it isn't anymore. What is the present, and the future is also not actualized. So I cannot imagine how A time is true and block time. I think the B theory of time is the correct one.
Yeah, I don't. You've got those turned around.
How do you mean?
The B theory of time is the block universe.
Oh, okay, okay. So, so I hold to the A theory of time,
Yeah, that's
which
been
says,
proven false.
yeah, I've yet to understand how um, the block theory of time is true. I've not understood that yet. But I think the majority of theorists they hold to the A theory of time.
What's happening with Will here? You haven't said anything. I don't even think he's here, right?
Yeah,
Is-
it seems he isn't here.
yeah,
Yeah,
he must have just left it on, and maybe I don't
yeah,
know if he fell asleep or what, but he hasn't said anything in quite a while.
yeah. So
This is
Brenda,
that.
you are,
That I'm sorry. Is this is that the young kid, the 15-year-old kid?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah,
He's a pretty
yeah,
smart kid, huh?
yeah. I think it's
Yeah,
fantastic. In that age, it is in the
yeah,
teenage years that the majority of people they form their worldview, and it's rare to see people that change it after they are 20 or so. That is a statistically proven fact, and it was my case. I mean, I became a Christian when I was 18. I converted myself with 18. So you are an atheist, correct, Brenda?
Yes, I am.
And um, do you have positive reasons why you think that materialism tops theism in regards of explanatory power of our existence?
Yeah, I don't think that gods have any explanatory power at all. I
No,
don't
that's
think.
not what I ask. What I am asking is, how do you think that the materialistic propositions um, have a better explanatory power of our existence rather than theistic claims?
Yeah,
How can
because yeah,
materialistic mechanisms explain our existence?
well, because they do explain it, and theistic ones have no explanatory power.
Okay, can you back that up? How do materialistic mechanisms explain our existence?
Yes,
How?
um, it depends on what your exact question is. So I got here by evolution, I guess is the way, and so evolution is an explanation of how the human species came to exist.
Yeah, intelligent design um, is an all-encompassing explanation of
No, no,
existence,
it's
of
not.
origins.
It's not science.
And that's not what I am saying, Brenda. What I am saying is that the proposition of intelligent design does not only direct explanations in regards of biodiversity, but of existence in its entirety. It is a
No,
philosophical view that the physical, the material world, and also the mental world came into existence by an intelligent creator which is above the physical material world, which transcends it, and which is at the bottom of reality, which is an eternal, powerful, conscient, intelligent creator. That is the proposition, and intelligent design explains the origin of the universe, the physical laws, the fine tuning, the origin of the chemical elements, the earth, the origin of life, biodiversity, and consciousness and moral values. So it is an all encompassing explanation,
yeah,
while evolution, of course, explains just biodiversity. But if you propose that no creator is required and that only material naturalistic causes explain our existence, you require an explanation to all these issues.
Hello.
yeah.
Hello, Joel.
Intelligent design is
Morning.
pseudoscience. It is not science, and it does not explain anything.
Well,
But
the
that's not an
thing,
explanation,
I
though.
well,
You have to give us reasons why.
You
Like
can't
that's
hear
what
him.
Angela is
I
asking
can't
you
hear
about.
him.
Is why you say that?
I can't hear him.
Oh, daggone it. Is this better?
Yes.
Yeah, I apologize. Yeah, no, Intangelo, he's trying to ask you why. For you to simply assert that that's not an explanation, you have to explain why.
what is not an explanation?
Just to say that it's pseudoscience, that whatever that's an anecdotal
Well, I
No,
would
that's
say,
not
self-representation.
what the
yeah,
word
I would.
anecdotal means. That's not what the
Okay,
word anecdotal
Yeah, it's a
means.
okay,
logical fallacy.
No, it's not a
okay,
logical fallacy either.
okay.
Yeah, all anecdotal references are logical fallacy. And
No,
Tangelo is asking you for
no, they're not.
specifics. Yes, they are.
Okay, I would say this, Brenda, that the material natural world is what is, what we can investigate, and science does this, investigates the material things, how things work, and
Yes, yes, I agree.
the
I
exp-
agree.
and
The
the,
material
and
world
the,
is what is.
okay,
Anything
so
that's not in the
what
material world is what is not. Right?
okay, so
How do you
what
know that though?
Well, that's
So
what he
what we
said.
try to so what we try to do is to give an adequate or case adequate explanation of how the material
Yeah,
world
I
actually
understand.
came into existence. So basically what intelligent design is, in essence, it is a philosophical um, explanation of the origin of the material world. So if you say it's not science, okay, I'm fine with that. The question, however, is how do we best explain our existence?
Well,
So you have here,
we'd
so we
explain with
have
science, not
basically,
with pseudoscience. Intelligent design is unfalsifiable pseudoscience. It doesn't explain anything.
So it does, and that's
No,
where I
it
would want to
actually
ask
doesn't.
Antangelo. That's why I would like to ask these guys. So what is their counter evidence to people like NASA scientists like Robert Jastrow, for example, who explicitly published that that supernatural forces are now, he thinks, a scientific fact, or Albert Einstein, for example,
Those
who
are
talked
he's
about how that God is the invisible player, that everything dances to this mysterious tune, this
yeah.
intelligent
These are
designer.
just
So they've published
quotes.
actual scientific
No.
reasons and data
Could
to
you link me
support the
to? Could you
supernatural.
link the paper
Oh
where
wait, I'm
Einstein?
sorry. I can't hear you, Brenda. Is your religious position so insecure you can't allow people to ask a question?
Could you link the paper where Einstein
Oh,
gives
you
that proof?
yeah, no, it's in all of his work, Brenda.
No.
It's and he
Where's the
talked about the
paper?
intelligent design.
Where's the
Is that what
paper?
you got? See, I apologize. I
Where's
again
the
I just
paper?
want the counter evidence to their claims.
Where's the paper?
He made that claim in the Saturday Evening Post, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. That's not. I want a scientific paper published in a journal.
Yeah, he used all of his published work,
Yeah, it's
including the
worthless.
journal,
It's worthless.
including his general theory of relativity, if you've ever heard of it before, that talks about how the universe is a verified, mathematically and scientifically proven,
Yeah.
finite created universe with a calculable beginning and endpoints, and that time itself is relative. So
Yeah,
he
I know.
uses all of those types of data points to base those conclusions
Yeah.
that God is, in fact, an
Where's his
invisible
paper?
player.
Where's the
That
paper?
Where's Einstein's general relativity theory
No.
paper?
Where's the paper where he proves that God exists? Where's that?
I just gave you.
No, there's no paper published by Einstein that says the things that you said. You said he
So you're
had
calling Einstein a
success.
liar. You're
I'm
invalidating
saying-
Einstein's published conclusions
saying
because
that-
you just say so.
I'm saying that opinion published in
Okay,
a trash
right. So your
magazine
opinion trumps
is
Einstein's
worthless.
opinion. Right. So your opinion is worthless. Is all you've said.
No, I
Is your
said
substantiation
that, I
that
said that
that
Einstein's opinion.
again NASA scientists
is
and
not
others
worth
who
anything.
disagree with your opinion. So Albert Einstein and Jastrow are just two examples. Max Planck. We can go to all kinds of other scientists
Yeah.
that have
That
all
would be just
have all
more
disagreed with
question
your
begging-
opinion based on their
question
scientific
begging,
evidence. But
appeals
their
to
opinions are
authority
useless
on
because
your
your
part.
opinion is not useless. Is that all we got?
No, my
Do we have
opinion
anything
is my
better than that?
opinion, Right?
Yeah,
My
it is.
opinion
That is all you've given is opinion that
Yeah.
that the ideas against your religion are pseudoscience, quote unquote.
I don't have a religion. I'm an atheist.
Yes, you do. Everybody has a religion.
No, they don't.
Atheism is the most fanatical religion on the planet.
No, it's not.
Atheism is such a religion you literally believe your religious beliefs without evidence on purpose.
No, that's not. That's also false.
No, it's not. President
Yes, it is.
Obama even certified through several federal court laws that atheism is a recognized world religion that
yes,
automatically deserves religious tax exemption. So you can go to an atheist church today and get a tax write-off. If you donate to
That's
them.
irrelevant. Atheism.
No,
is
it's not.
A
It's
religion.
a proof that atheism is a religion.
No, it's not a proof. It's simply
Yes, it
a
is. It's a
act.
legal proof.
Government acts don't make things true.
Well, atheists went to court to sue the Obama administration, and federal courts lost.
Yeah, that's just for political reasons.
Nope,
Philosophically,
not at all. It's
atheism
for
is
it's
not
for
a
religious
religion.
protections.
It's not a religion.
It's a religion,
No,
and there's
it's
plenty
not.
of churches.
The
In fact,
exact opposite
you
happened in
just-
Canada.
the head
You just
priestess
keep
of
repeating
the
exact
yourself.
of the
opposite
United
happened in
Church of
Canada.
Canada today is an ordained atheist, and I can give you
There's no
websites
such
where you can
thing
go
as
get
an
your
ordained
atheist
atheist.
ordained priesthood
such
today.
thing.
Yeah, yeah. No, there is. You're just not aware of it yet. But again, that's all. I agree. That's all irrelevant. The question is, what is the counter evidence to these other scientists that disagree with your opinion?
Show me their papers published, research published.
Well, I would rather you go learn some science, basic science on
No,
your
I
own.
know
Again,
science.
I've
I
got
was
Albert
citing
Einstein's
it.
references.
I
We
was
can
citing
go over those
science.
together if you've never studied Einstein's work before. Obviously,
Yeah, I did.
I can quote from Jastrow's research. Like the others that I've talked about. Man, we got Penrose. We got so many others. The
Yeah,
bigger question
that's
is,
all
what
just
is your
opinion? I
the,
want
the
science.
right? So we can just go by opinion only. So you've given us your
No, I
religious
don't
opinion.
wanna
I've
go
given
by
you some
opinion.
other religious opinions. What is your evidence against their opinions, other than just your religious opinion?
I don't have a religion.
Yes, you
I-
do.
And my position.
All beliefs for or against
is
God
false.
is by definition of religion.
No, it's not. That's not true.
Yes, atheism is the
That's
negative
not how
religious
it works.
position on the same exact question that theism answers in the positive.
No.
So I
not
don't
having
want
a
to dispute.
religion
I don't want to
isn't
talk
the
about your
same
logical
as having a
fallacies about your religion.
You don't
I only want to
understand
know what your
logic.
counter scientific evidence is to your opinion.
My evidence for what I claimed, which is
Mhm.
humans originated by means of evolution.
Which
So,
what proof do you have of that?
Otangelo asked me, where do we come from? And I answered him. I say humans evolved
From what?
from a prior species.
What's the
Homo
proof of that?
habilis. Huh? We have the fossils.
So that's not proof, though.
Yeah,
So
it is.
yeah, let me clarify that for you then too, so we can understand together. So the Christian scientific method that Bacon started strictly says that something to be considered as a scientific claim or evidence, whatever, has to be a repeatable observation in real time. So to see calcified rock formations
They're not
allegedly
calcified.
change into
They're
something else
fossils.
outside of real time, that does not show proof of speciation on a genetic
Yeah,
level. We don't
it
have any
actually
genes
does.
to actually watch.
It actually does.
All we have is these calcified rock remains.
They're not calcified. They're
Well-
actual fossils. They're not calcified.
Well, right. So an actual
You don't know
fossil
what
is
these words-
it's
you don't know
the
what the words you're using mean.
sure I do. So a
What does
fossil is
calcified
simply
mean?
just biological material that was replaced by rocks, usually
That's
through
not what calcified
a water calcification process. It's not always calcium, but it could be other rocks. But this is basic process.
Right. So that's not what the calcified means.
Well, fossils are not biological material. There's very
Of course,
there's
they're
very
not.
few to no DNA trace in a fossil, unless you want to talk about the fossils that have fresh tissue in them. But that's another
Okay,
There are
Brenda,
no
can I
fossils that
read
have-
something
there are no
for you?
fossils that have fresh tissue in them. That's
Brenda, I
debunked.
would like to read something for you here, but I can put it on the screen, okay?
Sure. I still would like to hear the evidence. I don't see a chain of evidence of evolution, but yeah.
Just investigate evolution. The entire field of evolution shows that humans evolved right from a
So
prior species.
that's
Right.
circular reasoning. That
That's
you're
not
claiming that
circular
your premise
reasoning.
is your conclusion.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. That's
No.
begging the question, logical
No, it's
fallacy.
not begging the question.
You said that the evolution theory proves that humans evolved. That's circular logic. But go ahead. If we can't understand basic logical terms, then we do need to move
You
on.
don't know the first thing about logic.
Well, you'll have to show why, like I just showed how you don't.
You haven't done
So,
any
for
such
example, I already stated. So, a begging the question, circular reasoning, logical fallacy. It's simply when you use the premise for your preposition as your conclusion. So you conclude that humans must have evolved because of the premise of evolution. So that's circular reasoning.
That's not what I said. You're mischaracterizing. So
No, that's exactly what you said. And if I misunderstood you, please correct yourself. But
Yeah.
just as a feedback, I explicitly heard you say that humans evolved because of evolution, quote unquote.
Yeah, that's not what I said.
Well, what did you say?
And I was asked, where do we come from? And I said that we evolved, that evolution accounts for
Right. That's-
where humans, the appearance of the human species.
Right. So that's a circular.
So
that's
you
not
used the fossil
not
record,
circular.
correct, Brenda?
Among other things.
What are the other things? What are the other things?
The fossil evolution doesn't use just the fossil record. You don't know what evolution is?
Yeah,
No,
we do,
so
dude.
can
We
you
talk about these
can
things
you
every
point
day.
to the other
Evolution
things?
uses DNA, right?
So how does
It uses
DNA
comparative
point to?
anatomy.
Okay, let's just
It
so
uses a
let's
large
just
number of scientific disciplines to
okay,
amass
Brenda. So let's
evidence
just
that
choose.
accounts
choose
that explains the
How?
the
We don't want to
evolution
hear
of
your
species.
basic explanations. We want to hear how. We want to hear your evidence.
Oh, evolution is accomplished by means of uh, the primary driver is natural selection.
You mean random blind chance?
No,
Because
Evolution
natural
is not
selection
just
was a
random
random
natural
blind
blind
selection
chance.
chance.
is.
No, it's not.
That's not what natural selection is. You don't know the first thing
Yeah.
of what you're talking
So
about.
natural selection is a living agent. It's a decision maker.
No,
It's not random,
it's not random. No,
right? So it's an agency.
no, it's a natural process.
Where do natural processes come from?
What?
Where do natural processes come from? There's
That's
always a
irrelevant.
causality says there's always a
It's a
first
natural
cause.
It's a natural process.
I
So
agree with Brenda, and you clearly don't
Brenda,
have an understanding of evolution.
oh,
I
Clearly, you don't
actually do. I've got a
understand
very
natural
good, deep
selection, Joel.
understanding of it. I
You
think
do not
Antangelo's got a
understand
deeper
natural
understanding than I
selection
do.
at all.
But
Clearly.
regardless of committing further ad hominem logical fallacies to tell your debate opponent what you think they believe, why can't you just answer the dang questions? Where's the
did.
actual evidence? Don't just say evolution proves it. Don't just say natural
I
selection,
didn't.
because we could argue Aristotle disproved natural selection, quote unquote, 350 BC in his physics premise. He destroyed that theory a long time ago. And Darwin actually disagreed with natural selection until he fell away from Christ when he lost his daughter Annie and then became an atheist. Until then, he agreed natural selection was stupid. And the bottom
okay,
line is
Brenda.
natural selection, if it's not random, that means it's an agency.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, well, how? How otherwise? If
It's just
something's random, then
Okay.
we can say, okay, this is just randomly happens because just, with lots of hopes and dreams. I say how natural selection tries to hope that things will happen based on what they think may have happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. Or natural selection is not random, as you've also said. Therefore, non-random requires agency, requires decision making.
No, it doesn't. That's not true.
Yes, it does.
That's a false dichotomy.
I disagree. So,
Oh, too
how does
bad.
non-random require? How can non-random be random?
I didn't say that.
Well, how can something that's not random not require decisions?
It can simply be a natural law.
But that's irrelevant.
No,
There's
that's
no
exactly
such thing
what it
as
is.
natural laws if you don't
Yes, there
understand or
is.
explain where natural laws come
is
from.
irrelevant, really?
Yes, because like Max Planck, for example, the founder of quantum physics, you're probably not familiar with either. He explicitly said we have no right to claim any physical laws exist at all, or if they have until now, that they'll continue to exist in the way they are. So the idea that physical laws just must dictate how everything is, that's anti-scientific.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
How science is based on
Okay,
it.
if
You're just cherry picking quotes.
Why is
This
Max
called-
Planck wrong?
This is literally called appeal to authority.
no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Joel, you're over talking. Let others talk a little bit too, please. Okay?
Well, I'm just saying these are how actual scientists who actually start these fields of science. This is how they explain things, and they just tell them, "Oh no, all these people that start these fields of science they pretend to know about, they're just
Well,
they're just wrong." I just want to hear better explanations.
Joel, I disagree with you too, Joel, because
Well,
natural
why?
selection is not random. It is that the organism which best adapts to the environment and to the ecological situation will spread its
There we go.
genes to the population, and it will overturn the
Right.
other alleles, and then that moves evolution forward. So that's not
Yeah.
random. It's actually
No,
the ecological situation, the
I understand
ecological
all of that,
environment.
Angelo.
Listen, I'm
Yeah.
talking, Joel. You're over talking.
No, I just wanted to help make it
Joel,
more brief.
Joel, let's a little bit slow down. You are over
No,
talking
no, no.
too.
I agree with you, and I understand all of that.
You've done over talking in the other stream, and you're doing it right now too. So
I'm
you're
just
only you are talking, and you are not giving others the time to also expose their points. And I want that everyone has equal and enough time to expose their
I do
points. So
too,
please,
Antangelo.
so
Again,
please,
I'm not doing that.
you're over
I just want
talking
to cut to the
over me
chase.
right now. But okay. It's difficult. I want just that you do not cut people off when they're talking, Joel. So
Well, and I'm
please,
not trying to cut anybody off. I'm giving everybody far more
that's what
respect than
you're
I'm getting.
doing. But that's what you are doing.
No,
So
no, no. I'm
slow
not.
down
I'm,
a
I'm
little
just
bit.
trying to. I'm trying to
Slow
accelerate
down
it
a
by
little
saying I
bit.
agree. I
Okay.
understand that both that natural selection is explained both as a random force and a non-random force. I
Okay,
understand all
Brenda,
of
I
those
want to
arguments.
ask you a question, Brenda. Do you see on the screen here 19 different mechanisms? Which do you think is not involved in making of organismal form and architecture?
Um, I need to read through the whole thing. I don't know. Why don't you tell me?
All these 19 points, they are involved in the construction of organismal complexity and multicellular organisms. And most of these mechanisms, Brenda,
Am I being
they are not
totally
genetically
inaccurate?
encoded; they are epigenetically encoded.
Just details.
Okay, and there are also signaling pathways which are also in play here.
Okay,
And
okay.
and
So
what
so
what does that mean is
it means
that
that they're all
these
natural
these
processes, right?
well, that's
No.
your claim, but the thing is that I am listing 29 epigenetic codes and languages, and these have to be encoded. And in order to have information, language codes, and transmission of information, you need four different things which work in a synergetic manner together. That is the mechanism to store information.
This
You
is
need the hard drive, then you need the language, and you need the code, and then you need the information, and then you need the information transmission system, like
Okay,
in genes.
yeah,
That
that's
is, for
fine.
example, from DNA, you
All of
go
this is
to the.
fine. I,
Uh,
I don't see the problem.
Brenda, I didn't finish yet.
Yeah, but I
Listen,
just don't.
please.
I'm not seeing where you're going with
Well,
this. I don't see
well,
the
can I
problem.
finish, Brenda? I've not finished. I want. If you don't let me finish, I cannot make a point. So if you listen carefully, then you will understand where I'm going with this. Okay? So you need four things which require to merge together. If you have a hard disk, but you do not have the code, the language, and the information, the hard disk has no function. If you have DNA, but you do not have information stored in it, DNA has no function. But DNA is a very complex molecule to be synthesized, and it doesn't occur randomly on the prebiotic earth or even afterwards. In the cell, it is synthesized by very complex enzymatic mechanisms. So um, DNA by itself would never emerge by natural
So
means because it has no function in the natural world. But if you have the information, and we know that genes store information, but you do not have a mechanism how to store that information, then that information is meaningless. It cannot be used to do things. Then you need the information transmission system. You need to go from DNA to the amino acids, which it encodes for. And in order to go from DNA to the amino acids, you have over 25 very complex enzymatic machinery and protein complexes, which also you have to account for. And this machinery has no function unless you have the DNA and the information, and you have products to make, which are proteins. So basically, life is an all or nothing business. Either you have everything from right from the go, from the start, or you will not be able to have all these systems from in a successive, random, evolutionary, gradative, built-up manner. It's simply not possible. It's conceptually not possible.
so I don't know what that was all about. I don't know how it addresses what I said, which is simply that you asked me how I got here, and I told you humans evolved by means of natural selection. So I don't know what
Prove
all
Okay.
of
that.
this other stuff that you've been talking about has to do with that. It does. It seems
What's
Okay.
to
the
me
In
proof
like
of
you're
that
order.
changing the
statement?
subject.
Okay.
Seems to me like you're
Okay.
changing the
Okay, Brenda.
subject
In
from
order
evolution
to
to abiogenesis, and I wasn't
well, you
talking
have
about
to have
abiogenesis.
you have to have an all-encompassing explanation which starts with the origin of life and then goes to
No, I don't.
biodiversity.
No, I
Of
don't.
course you do.
No, I don't.
In order to have a consistent um, explanation of origins, you need to have an explanation to all the relevant questions of origins and in regards of life and biodiversity. That is also you have to have an account, an explanation which is rational, which starts with the
No, I
origin
don't.
of life.
You're just wrong. I don't have to. I have evolution, and evolution explains how the human species and all species on life came to be.
But that's a strictly religious statement, though.
No, it isn't. You're an idiot.
Evolution is your religion. You have
No,
to
Okay,
explain it
science.
scientifically.
Science is not. Is
No,
science
it's not.
religion? Is science
You
religion?
didn't say anything scientific. You just made a
Yes.
religious statement.
No, I
The
didn't.
evolution does it.
Evolution is a science.
Instead of saying God did it, you said evolution did it.
No, I
Literally.
didn't.
What's the science?
I said natural selection is what did it.
Okay. Instead of God did it, natural selection did it. Natural selection is your personal God. We get it.
No, it's
Now,
not.
what's the
It's
science?
not a person. It's a
Yes, it
process.
is. It's your. You believe it, don't you?
It-
You
it's
believe in the
something
God of
we
natural
can
selection?
observe. I can observe it.
Tell me the observations, because all the observations that I'm
observations of
aware of,
natural
on
selection?
top of what Otangelo is trying to educate you on, prove otherwise. The
No,
the
they
long-term
don't.
evolutionary experiment, it strictly disproved the idea that random mutation can cause speciation, because the E.
That's
coli
false.
never evolved.
Yes, they did. They
No, it
evolved the
didn't.
ability. Yes, they did. They evolved the ability.
No, they didn't. Look,
Yes,
I'll,
they did.
you want to read a
Excuse me.
document here? I'll
Excuse
give you a
me.
freaking science
Shut
paper
up.
on it.
Shut up when I'm talking. All right?
Why?
Get that through
You're
your
gonna
head.
bully people
Shut
now? You
up
think
when
you
I'm
can bully
talking.
people for your religion?
Shut up. Shut up when I'm
You
talking.
can bully people for your religion? Here,
Shut
read
up
this
when I'm
article
talking.
here. The long-term
Shut up.
evolution experiment
Hey, shut up.
disproved evolution right
Shut
there.
up. I'm talking. Know your place.
Well, why don't you talk
Sit
with
down
people instead of
and-
just preaching?
And shut your mouth. So
No.
what happened in the long-term
Look,
study
if you want
is that
respect,
E. coli,
dude, you're gonna have to
E.
give it.
coli learned how to metabolize.
It learned on its
citrate.
own, right? Randomly.
It learned how, yes, randomly.
Yeah,
it
magically.
Learned how to metabolize
Magically delicious.
citrate.
It had the right diet.
No, it didn't. It couldn't metabolize citrate before. It evolved
Right.
the ability to metabolize
Joe,
citrate.
why don't you let her
I
explain?
You
apologize.
can't do that.
I mean, you
Please,
just
please
keep
read
interrupting.
Please
Yes.
read that document,
So
that
I don't have
science
to-
paper
No, I'm not going to read a fucking thing.
I just shared, so you don't waste our time.
Yeah, I'm not going to read a fucking thing from you. You're an asshole.
Right? It's not for me. No, you're the one that's telling me people to shut up for your religion.
I'm telling you.
This is from
That's because you were being
PubMed.gov. It's from the
rude,
National
Joel.
Library of Medicine.
This
She
is
said,
fucking
she
manners.
said that because you were being rude. That's why. I'm
No,
sitting
it
here
wasn't.
listening to the
I
whole
was simply
thing.
asking you to
Fucking manners.
give
Constantly
us the
interrupt.
science instead of religious statements.
All
That's
you're
not
doing
rude.
is interrupting. Let her
I'm just asking for
respond.
scientific
So-
statements outside of religious
so-
statements. It's not
See,
rude.
you're doing it to me. Somebody's trying to
No, you
respond to
guys
you,
are
and all
being
you do is
offensive
open
because
up
your
your
religion's
mouth.
been challenged.
So
No, you're
whatever.
triggered. You're a triggered car alarm.
No, you are. You're the one
Because-
telling people to
because-
shut up.
Yes, because
You are
you're
what you're telling me,
over-talking.
claiming I am, dude.
'Cause
I
you're
want the
over-talking.
conversation. I'm asking the questions.
No, you're not. I was
Yes,
talking,
I am.
You
I'm the
interrupted
one
me.
showing actual papers. I'm the one actually asking you for your evidence. You're not. You're giving me a
I-
religious statement.
I gave you the evidence.
No, you what?
Natural
What evidence?
selection-
The LTE
natural
disproves your
selection-
claim.
Natural selection is what accounts for the evolution of
How?
species on planet Earth.
How?
What? What do you mean how? Natural
So
selection
Christians
is
say
the
that
how.
God explains how the diversity of life. You say natural selection. What's the Yeah.
Oh,
how
does
is the
natural
science?
selection work? By means of differential survival.
How?
Um,
Show me the evidence.
Animals without traits, without the traits necessary to survive, don't survive, and do not pass their genes on to future generations.
Not always. Sometimes the fittest do not survive. Humans are a classic example of that. That's why the eugenist wars were so horrible. We
What are
tried
you talking about?
the atheist fascists. They tried
What
to
are you
force the
talking
fittest to
about?
survive. With eugenics, but they stopped doing it.
What are you
So now we
talking
protect.
about?
I'm
We're
talking about
about-
exactly what I just said. Atheist fascists, they tried to force natural selection to always make sure that
Hitler was a Catholic.
I'm trying to see, you're the one talking over.
Hitler was a Catholic.
I give you information, I ask questions, then
No,
you
you're
start
the
preaching
one
over
who
me.
Suddenly brought this into politics. You're the one that dragged this into politics.
No, I didn't.
Hitler-
I just it's
Hitler was
a
a
it's a
Catholic.
simple statement. My understanding is that all
Hitler was not an
eugenicists were
atheist.
atheist fascists. There were
Hitler
no
was
of
not
no
an
other religion.
atheist.
And
Fascists are
we could
not
cite Charles
atheists.
Darwin. We could cite Margaret Sanger. We can start Woodrow Wilson, Adolf Hitler. All these guys, they used your theory to say, well,
No, they
since we
didn't.
need to make sure that the
They had bad
survival of the
science.
fittest helps,
They had
cull the human
bad
population,
science.
so that we can
Okay.
extirpate,
Yeah, eugenics
the
was bad
racially.
science.
How did Margaret Sanger put it? The racially fit.
Yeah, she didn't say that.
Then we need to make sure that the evolution is able to do its
That's a
job.
misquote. That's not what she said.
Okay,
Okay, let's
Brenda,
get
I
the
would like.
actual
I'm
Okay,
verbatim
familiar
quote.
with
Brenda,
all
I
your
would like to
talking
ask you.
points.
Brenda, I would like to ask you a question.
I
Um,
got the actual quote too
I
when we're
think
done.
I think that just saying, "Oh, we can explain human origins by evolution," that is not enough.
Why
If
not?
you want,
Exactly.
if you want that materialism is a better explanation over theism, then you need an all-encompassing explanation in regards of all the relevant talking points which explain origins. And evolution alone simply won't do it. And if you do not have a really convincing explanation of how actually everything started, which starts with abiogenesis, then it is not enough. It is not sufficient to say that materialism is a better explanation rather than theism. So I
Yeah.
disagree with
Exactly.
you on
Yeah,
that.
your demand is unrealistic because science doesn't work that way. Science has fields that are divided up into areas. So, for instance, evolution only covers the origin of species and life on Earth. It doesn't deal with abiogenesis.
Yes,
So
but the
you
talking
can't.
point, Brenda, is not evolution. The talking
Excuse
point
me.
is origin.
You can't demand of evolution that it account for something it
That's
isn't
not what I'm
designed to account
doing.
for. It
That's
doesn't
not what
account
I'm
for
doing.
abiogenesis.
That's not what I am doing, Brenda. I said right from the beginning, I asked you a very precise question. How can you, which are you are an atheist, explain our existence by natural means in a better manner, in a way which is more consistent and has more explanatory power than theistic explanations and
But
mechanisms? That was
Well,
my
okay,
initial
that's fine.
question.
That's
And
fine. That's
okay,
fine.
so it
That's fine. You want an
the
answer to that?
talking
You want an answer to
so
that?
so Brenda, the talking point is not exclusively evolution. It is about origins in a
Right.
general sense.
Right. That's fine. I don't know. I
yeah,
don't
you
know.
reminded me on Tangle. I would add to that
I
that
don't have to know,
even
and I don't have to have an explanation.
evolutionary biology theory, that is the theistic origin as well. Since even
Okay,
Charles
so
Darwin
you
himself, he plagiarized from Lamarck and Paley and all those other guys. Darwin was a Christian creationist for the majority of his
No,
life, again
yeah,
until his daughter died, and he
it's
blamed
just
God
more
for that.
bullshit
And
stuff that he's
that's when he
believing.
decided to add Huxley's atheist
Me?
white supremacy dogma to Christian creationism that evolutionists worship today. So
Brenda,
even evolution is a theistic or has theistic origins.
So my
Joel,
answer, Otangelo,
I want to
is
make
I don't have an
Joel. I would like
explanation.
just a
I
moment.
don't know.
I
I
yeah,
don't know where.
okay.
I don't have an explanation for the origin of the universe.
Okay, so no, that's not only
Well,
that.
science
I
asks
mean,
those questions.
Joel, I would like to make a follow up while you interrupt me. So just a moment, please. Brenda, um, you said you don't know in regards of the universe,
Yeah,
but you
yeah.
want to you want to make a case for materialism, for strong atheism. Is that correct?
Um, I think that there is no good evidence for the existence of a god or a supernatural realm, and therefore I don't see any need to believe in it.
Okay, so you are basically what you need actually is not saying, oh, because theism doesn't convince me, therefore atheism is true. What you need is good explanatory and a good explanatory framework which permits you to say, because of this and that, I think that materialism explains our existence in the best manner and
Well,
it
I don't
stops
have an
theism.
explanation for our existence. I don't need one.
Science does. And
No, it
that's I don't know
doesn't.
if you're reading my
Can
chat,
me?
Brenda, but that's an appeal
No,
to
science
ignorance
doesn't
logical
have an
fallacy to claim
explanation
something
for.
is true or false based on
May
a
I
lack
make
of
a comment?
evidence.
I
Joel,
agree. You know, we talked
I
about
didn't
this. Oh,
finish.
sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Laurie, go ahead, please.
Can I just quick comment? Honestly, I agree with what Brenda's saying. we had this discussion a little while ago, and I had come up with the same exact answers she did. There's certain situations you have to say you don't know because humans don't know. We don't have all the knowledge. So I
Right.
agree, and I think your
Yeah.
demands also on Tangelo, you're saying you have to have the answer for this. Well,
Yeah.
humans don't, and that's the
Yeah.
answer.
We have a
Well,
theory. We have
scientists
a
do.
theory for no, they don't. We have a
Yes, we
theory
do.
called the Big Bang, but that's not. It doesn't take you to time zero. It doesn't.
But
It isn't an explanation. So we don't actually know what the origin of the universe is. There are theories. There are scientific
right,
theories. They're
so
not based on nothing, but and they're reasonable. But we don't know. We can't say we know, and I don't
well,
have to know in order to reject a bad explanation.
so plenty of scientists vehemently disagree with you,
Too
100%.
bad.
Why don't you want to talk
That's
about the
called
counter evidence
appeal
together?
to
All right.
authority.
There's plenty of
No, no, no.
scientists that disagree with you too, Joel.
I
Explain
understand
all
that, and
that. I
I
mean,
that's
that's
what I'm saying.
ridiculous.
Why can't we
That's a
talk about the
ridiculous
counter evidence?
comment.
You guys are trying
That's
to
a
push your
ridiculous
religious
comment.
opinions only and saying that nobody can understand it
Authorities,
otherwise. I'm
Joel, authorities are not
Wow.
evidence. Citing
Brenda,
authorities is
Brenda,
not
I think,
evidence.
Brenda, you humans had never such abundant knowledge in regards of basically all scientific fields and philosophy
Yeah,
as today.
absolutely.
Okay,
I agree.
so what that means is that we can actually make informed inferences based on what we
Yes,
do
we
know
can.
and say
Yes, we
in
can.
and based on what we do know we can say that explanation seems to be the most
Yes, I
adequate
agree.
one
I
based on
agree.
what we do know.
But
So
you
that's why
can't
I
say,
oppose.
but what we can't say is that we know. And we don't
No,
know the origin
nobody
of the
is saying.
universe. We
Okay,
don't know
nobody,
it.
Brenda, is saying that knows. Neither
What?
materialists nor
right.
theists can claim to have
Well,
absolute
theists claim
knowledge in
that they know.
regards. No, 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 no,
Yes,
no.
you do.
I've
You
never
claim you
claimed.
know.
No, no, I don't.
Yes.
At least you have never seen me to claim that I have proofs that the theistic worldview is true. What I am saying is that based on the scientific, philosophical, and theological views and framework, we can say I believe that the theistic worldview is a better explanation rather than the materialistic
Well, the theism
worldview
Right.
has no
as
explanatory
explanation.
power
Right, and we could talk about that. We could talk
it's
about the counter evidence.
unfalsifiable.
So what you guys are doing,
It doesn't have to be,
the atheist
Brenda.
religious worldview is saying, well, there can be
Yes,
no
it does
evidence
have
against
to
our
be
religion, so therefore
unfalsifiable. In order to
you can't
count
be
as
right.
science, it has to be falsifiable.
No, it
Yes, it
doesn't.
does. Yes, it
In
really,
regards,
really does.
Brenda, in regards of origins, nobody has proofs what happened. What we all can do is make inference to the best explanation. We can analyze what we see in the natural world, the evidence, and then
Yeah.
say, how does the natural world be best explained? And that
And
is a philosophical question. That's
well,
why I say
those
that
and
the point,
those answers are in things such as various theories of origins, inflationary theory, and multiverse theory, and all of those things. Those are all speculative, based on our current knowledge, but they don't have an overwhelming amount of certainty, so that we can confidently say that we know how the universe began. We can't say that, and as an atheist, I don't have to say that I know how the universe began. I reject the God claim because there's no evidence for a God.
so is there evidence that the material explanation is better than the theistic explanation?
The theist doesn't have an explanation. You don't have one.
So okay, so basically what you are trying to propagate is your ignorance. Is that correct?
No, I'm
So
saying
what do you propose actually?
I'm saying that there is no evidence for the existence of a God.
Okay, so what do you try to convince people of?
That their reasons for believing in God are insufficient.
Okay, so you basically want that people are coming down to your agnosticism. Is that correct?
Well, I'm an atheist in that I reject the claim that God exists based on the lack of evidence for his
So
existence,
so what do you stand for?
that God does not exist.
So what? So then, basically, you stand for materialism. Is that correct?
I don't actually have to know. I don't have to have a. I have a methodological naturalism, which is that the scientific method is the best method for investigating the world around us. But if you could prove that God exists, then I would accept that God exists.
So
But
can you prove that the material
until you
world
can
is all there
provide that
is?
proof, I'm just going to go with methodological naturalism.
Okay, methodological naturalism can just make experiments and use operational science to
Yes,
explain
yes,
how things work.
exactly what I
But
just said.
the
Yes,
question, yes, but the question about how things actually originated is an
yes,
entirely different question and
yes, it is. Yes, you're correct.
an
You're correct.
entirely different field of investigation. So, um, if
Do
you
you have
do
any
not have,
evidence that that there is a supernatural
Yes.
realm?
Keep trying to
What's your
talk about it.
evidence?
You don't want to.
What's your
You say you can't
evidence?
have evidence against your religion.
What's your evidence?
Again, going back to freaking jazz to what to Einstein published,
Let's just
the things that we could go over together that you say show you a
yeah.
paper on.
That's
Let's
called
break out the
that's
books, buddy.
called
You got any Einstein's work? Have you even heard of Robert Jastrow
those
before?
are all
Yes or no?
appeals to authority.
Yes or
That's
no? No, it's
those
not.
are
They're
logical
the ones that publish the
fallacious.
evidence that you reject.
Those are appeals to
Those are
authority.
just a few of the
Joel,
scientists that have published
can you slow
the
down?
scientific
When you
evidence
cite an
against your religion.
individual, when you cite an
Joel,
individual, that's an appeal to authority. When you cite the
okay, guys,
science,
both of you are very belligerent. I think it is not productive if you guys are like
I'm
that.
not
We want to
belligerent.
have just a normal,
Yes,
a
that's
I
fine.
was just trying to
peaceful.
finish the statement. Enjoy the religious freaking fanatics here, Otangelo. I'll go find something else to do, buddy.
Okay,
Good
fine.
riddance.
Yeah, good riddance. Because someone
Good
dares challenge
riddance.
your religion, you need to go ahead and silence the
Science is
infidel.
not a
Enjoy.
science is
You
not a
are a
religion.
religious fanatic, like Einstein complained. That's why Einstein said
Nobody's trying to.
atheists can never
Don't
be
cry like
scientists.
a
You
Science
baby,
proved
is
it.
not a
Joel. Don't
religion.
cry like a baby. People
You
are trying to have a
prove.
decent conversation. That's all. You're just crying.
That's right. I'm just a crybaby to the atheist religious fanatics.
Okay, guys, that's not the way I want that conversations are conducted. I
I'm,
don't want,
I'm sorry.
I don't want over talking that kind of
Yeah, I understand. That
being
didn't start until Joel came in here and
I
started
think we
started
nobody
swinging
can.
his
No,
swinging
you
his
did.
stick around.
I'm the only ones being overtalked over.
I think this has been a great conversation if everybody would just calm down a little bit.
I
That's all.
agree.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. So
Okay, so
Joel, calm down a
stop
little bit.
over talking.
I'm not
Try
the
to stop
one
over
that
talking
needs to
You
calm
are
down.
Joel. Joel,
and let's
you
calm
are
down.
I
excited,
don't want people to walk over me. I want to actually just simply ask for the evidence and
that's
talk
what
about
we
it
are doing
together.
too.
And he walks all over me to tell me that I'm an idiot, that there is no
You
evidence, that
are.
only his religion is true.
Wow,
I
Science
never
isn't a
heard one to
religion.
say that
wow.
whatsoever. Not
That's
Science
once.
isn't a
exactly what he's
religion,
saying.
and atheism isn't a religion.
Yes, it is. Okay,
No, it
let me
isn't.
go and put this to bed. The only reason that I can understand why atheists claim that their religious beliefs about God are not a religion is because it's an expression of their anti-humanism to need to disassociate themselves from the rest of all of humanity who disbelieves their religion.
Yeah. So
It's an anti-humanist statement. All humans are religious.
Prove,
You either believe God exists or does not exist. That is your religious belief. That is your religious position.
no,
As Webster even
believe
defines
that,
it.
I believe that people can be agnostic. I just happen to be atheist. So, and also, you need to prove that atheism is a religion, which it is not, because it has no creed.
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
What is it?
There's several of them actually.
What is it?
We can go online right now to
What
almost
is
any
it?
atheist online church, and we can read their creeds and their doctrines. We can go to the different websites that offer online atheist clergy certifications and
I've never
what do you
heard
call
of
those
such
things?
a
They're
thing.
sacraments.
If there are people
And you can
that are atheists calling
see how he's
themselves
interrupting me.
clergy.
See how the atheists are the religious
I
hypocrites
don't
they claim
care
others
about
are.
your opinions.
They ask a question, you try to give them an answer, and they walk all over you, so they can interrupt you and destroy the evidence against their religion. So you're proving that atheism is a religion by that as well. And again, so we can there's all kinds of examples that we can go into, but regardless, the idea that whether God exists or not is a religious question. So atheism is by definition a religion,
No, that
despite the
doesn't
fact that
follow.
you guys prove it yourselves.
It doesn't follow that the answer to a religious question is necessarily religious. It could
Sure
be
it is.
non-religious.
Nope,
Yes.
it's impossible.
No,
Also,
you're
agnostics are
wrong. You
always
don't know anything
agnostics
about
are also
logic.
always atheists, given the fact that to be able to believe that you have to know that God doesn't exist well enough to doubt that He does.
That's false.
Prove it.
You don't have to know, because you don't have to know that something exists in order to not know that it exists. Because that's just
Yes, you do.
gibberish. You're just talking gibberish.
To be able to doubt something exists requires that you believe that it doesn't.
That's false.
Because if you did, then you wouldn't doubt that it exists. It's a simple logic.
That's not logic.
I've won many debates with that simple logic.
You're an imbecile.
So for you have to say something other than it's not logic. You have to use logic to disprove somebody else's claim. You're not doing that.
Right. I don't have to believe that
Yeah.
unicorns exist in order to in order to be agnostic about their existence.
Yes, you do.
No, I
You have
don't.
you have to assume the unicorns may not or do not exist to be able to doubt that they do.
That's not assuming that they exist.
Yes, it is. That's what
No, it
agnosticism
isn't.
is. You assume
May
God
not-
may or may not exist.
You said
to
may
to
not
may
exist.
not believe in something
That's
requires that you doubt that it does, which means that requires you know
may
that it
not
doesn't.
exist is not believing that something exists.
It's the opposite. It's doubting. It's knowing something doesn't exist well enough to doubt that it does.
That's just not how doubt works.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. You don't have
So
to
doubt
know
works
that
by
something- you don't have to know that
disbelieving the
something-
opposite that it exists. Basically,
You don't have to know that something exists to
You
have
do.
doubts or be skeptical about whether or not it exists.
Well, again, you do, given the fact that if you
No.
didn't doubt it, or if you knew that it did exist, then you wouldn't doubt it.
That's not true. That's
Now,
not
it's
how
getting
doubt
complicated, but-
works. You can doubt something exists without knowing it exists. You
Right,
ignorant
but
fool.
you can't doubt something without knowing it doesn't exist, or else you wouldn't doubt it.
That's not true. You can doubt something without knowing it exists.
Right, you're twisting it around.
No,
I'm saying you have to know
this
it
is
does
the
not
correct-
exist to doubt that it
You don't
doesn't.
have to know that something doesn't exist in order to doubt it exists, because if I knew
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't exist, then I would not be agnostic about it, would I, you fucking moron?
Well,
Would
You know,
I?
again,
would I?
you're
If I
you're
knew it doesn't
you're evil
exist,
towards me.
If I knew it, if I
Just
know
because
it
somebody
doesn't
disagrees with
exist,
your religion doesn't make them an
if
effing
I
moron,
know
kid.
it doesn't exist, am I agnostic about it?
Well, why don't you apologize for being evil first?
If I know something doesn't
No,
exist,
you can't
can
apologize?
I be agnostic about it, moron.
You can't apologize for calling me an effing moron.
Listen, if I
No,
know
no, I am.
something
I don't want to
exists-
listen to people. I don't want to listen to toxic abusers. I don't want to listen to abusive
you're a
people, dude.
clown.
Will
You're a
you
clown.
apologize for calling me an
No,
effing moron
you're a
or no?
clown.
Is this a no? Everybody
Do I-
that disbelieves
do
your
I
religion
have
is an
to
effing
know
moron.
something?
That's all we've got.
If I know something doesn't exist, how?
No,
could
no,
I-
you need to
how could I
apologize
be-
first,
how
dude.
could I
No, it's
be
the cat.
not- how could I be unsure?
Why can't you
whether it
apologize
exists?
for being
I
inhuman?
don't have to.
You don't. Okay, so you're an
the one who
anti-humanist.
Came in here with
He's
an
a
attitude.
dude with a girl's name. What do you expect?
You're an
Enough.
you're an anti-humanist.
I don't
You
care.
hate people. You have to use hate
here's what this
speech to
moron
promote your
said.
religion.
Here's what this moron said.
You have to
He
use
said
hate
that
speech. You have to call
know
people
that
names
something
to promote
doesn't
your
exist.
religion.
He said that you have to know something doesn't exist in order to have doubts about whether it exists. But if I know something doesn't exist, I don't have any doubts. I know it doesn't exist. You
Not
clown.
necessarily.
Yes.
No, you
that's
can.
what it
If
means
you
to know.
doubt something, that means you know it doesn't exist or that it doesn't
What?
happen.
What?
At the same time,
What?
you can doubt that it
If
might
I
do it
know
if you
something
believe that it
doesn't
does.
Exist, if I know something doesn't exist, what? Do I?
You can
do-
still
do
doubt
I-
it.
No, I can't
Look,
because I know it
For example,
exist.
I'll give you a clear example right here, right now, with using you as the example. I know that you're an anti-human religious bigot based on you calling people morons because they disagree with you. So therefore, since I know you're a religious bigot, I can still doubt that maybe you're not. That maybe you can be a good
you
human being,
can't.
and then you can even become a Christian someday and actually love your neighbor
No,
as
you
yourself.
can't know that.
So I just proved you're
No,
wrong
you didn't
with
prove
that
anything.
case
You just
example.
You just strung nonsensical words together.
No, I didn't.
If
Your
you
religious
know
indoctrination
something-
forbid you to
if
be able
you
to analyze this logical argument.
If I know something doesn't exist, I can't then be unsure about whether
Yes,
that
you
thing
can.
exists.
I just showed you how and why.
Can't. No, you can't.
I just showed you
because-
how and why. Your
No,
religion
you
just simply
didn't.
rejected it.
No, you didn't.
You have to explain how I didn't without just making your religious
Because you made a contradiction.
But how? No, again, I can believe right, and I do believe right now that your humanity does not exist based on you calling me an effing moron for a simple
You should try
disagreement.
harder.
So
Nobody
therefore,
cares.
since I
Try
know that you're
harder.
not a good
Try
human,
harder.
I can still doubt that maybe
Try
that's
harder.
wrong, and that maybe you can become that.
Try
I can see
harder.
new evidence that maybe you might be able to be a good
Nobody
human
cares.
someday.
Try harder. So the point is, if I know.
Okay, now you're a bully.
If I know something doesn't exist,
Brenda, no
I
one
cannot-
cares. Try harder.
If I know something doesn't exist, then I cannot be
Who cares?
unsure about whether or
All right,
not
all right.
it exists.
Great.
Because that would
Thank you
be
for
a
proving yourself
contradiction.
wrong.
I did.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares, as you said.
If I know
Hypocrite.
something doesn't
Let's go back
exist,
to a rational conversation on Tangelo. I apologize. I just wanted to make a simple statement. I gave a simple example. I gave a counter example, and
You're
now
probably one of
now
the
everybody
dumbest
that disagrees with
persons I've ever
atheists
met,
now
John.
doesn't matter.
John Maddox, you're probably one of the dumbest persons I've ever debated.
Great. I appreciate your ad hominem logical fallacy to further prove that atheists are religious
No, that's
bigots.
not-
Thank you.
That was not an ad hominem.
Thank you for proving atheists are religious
That
bigots
was
in
not
general.
an ad
Appreciate it.
hominem. That was simply an
Oh, yes, it
insult.
was. You attacked my character.
No,
That's what ad hominem logical fallacies
no,
are.
No, it isn't. That's
Genius.
not what an ad hominem
That's
is.
okay. Let's go look up at the logical
An
fallacy
ad hominem-
definition websites,
an
why
ad
don't
hominem
we? And
says
just
that
quote it
your-
verbatim
your
to get
argument
the
is
stupid
wrong because your mother dresses
ad
you.
hominem logical fallacy. Let's look it up real quick
Hey,
together,
can
shall we,
Can we
gentlemen?
interrupt this conversation for a second? Otangelo, are you there?
No, he probably went off to go get breakfast or something.
He
Poor
did
guy.
say he was going to have lunch. I thought I saw it on the chat. All right,
Ad
never
hominem
mind.
is a logical
Continue.
fallacy that involves a personal
Continue.
attack, an argument based on the perceived failings of an adversary rather than on the merits of the case.
Right.
So you committed an ad hominem logical
No, I
fallacy
didn't. I
proving
simply
that
insulted you.
atheists in general, at least
No.
certainly you, are religious bigots.
An insult is not an ad hom.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. You idiot.
Oh, yes, it is.
No, it's not. An ad hom.
What you just said is that insults are not the perceived failings of an adversary rather than the merits of the case. You're attacking me instead of the ideas.
No, that's
You
correct.
you're proving atheists cannot understand
Ad hom-
logic. You proved
an
it.
ad hom
You proved
is
it.
when ad hom
You
is
proved
when I say
atheists cannot
that
understand logic.
Your
Thank you.
argument is false because of some personal failing on your part. That's what an ad hom is.
Well, he's saying that I'm an idiot because you're an idiot, I think, John. That everybody against his religion are idiots.
So it's
And Antangelo's not
she-
present right now, Paul.
and
Paul
secondly-
Kamish is a good case example of a decent, kind person who could still be an atheist, unlike you, Brenda.
I have
So you
Because
can't
we're all effing
understand-
morons if we
you-
disagree with
yes,
you.
you are.
Paul wouldn't call me an
You're
effing
probably
moron.
The dumbest person I've ever met.
Right.
I'm
Paul wouldn't call me
seriously-
the dumbest
seriously.
person you know.
Because you can't
Right.
understand that if I know something doesn't exist, I can't be unsure about whether or not it exists, can I?
So again, I'll reuse my example for the third time to see if this helps us move on. So for example, I know that your basic humanity doesn't exist, but I can still doubt that maybe it does.
Yeah, that's a contradiction.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
I can
It's
still have
literally
doubts.
a
I can
contradiction.
still hope. I can still hope and pretend and even pray
literally
that
a
you'll become a basic
contradiction.
human being someday. I can hope for that, can't I?
It's
I could doubt that
literally a
you're maybe not
contradiction.
anti-humanistic.
It's literally a contradiction.
No, it's not. You're
Yes, it
just you
is.
can't defend your religious position.
No, I
You've
just
never been
did.
challenged with the fact that agnosticism requires both positive and negative positions on the same thing. That's why it's intellectual. What do you call it? Dishonesty. You can never be agnostic on like religious conversations or religious opinions,
Yes,
for
you
example.
can.
No, you can't.
you
Agnosticism
Oh,
only
that's a
applies
load
to
of
like
crap.
data.
Come on.
Like
You
a
know-
server, like a switch
Yes,
can be
you can. You
agnostic
can
because
be
it doesn't
you're
care what the
telling-
information
you're
comes
telling-
in.
It's
You
a-
saying you know what he thinks or she thinks?
saying
You
what
telling me that
agnosticism
You know
thinks.
what I think?
It's not
That's
again.
what
That's an
agnostic
appeal
is,
to
you
add
know?
to add anecdotal reference. I don't care what anybody
Agnostic
thinks.
is
All I care about is
knowledge.
the ideas.
Joel,
You guys attack
agnostic
the
is
person. I
knowledge. Am
attack the
correct
merit.
Or not? Is
You
agnostic
guys attack the
knowledge,
person.
and you're telling me what I know? Is
No,
that what you're telling?
you attack the
That's what
stone.
you
I
just
attack
said.
the actual idea.
You just said that.
No, I'm talking about agnostics, not you. So what you just did is the basic fallacy that's often used in debate when
it
the
comes to
person
logic,
loses.
I know, Joel.
That
You got
since
the
we
greatest
no, what
logic.
you're doing is that
I
since
don't think you
nobody can
understand
attack
logic.
your religion, that if any attack on
Atheism
your
is not a
religion, any
religion.
attack on your idea is therefore a personal attack against you. So therefore, nobody can attack your religion. That's what you just said.
Well, it's
No,
not a religion.
you're
Yes, it is.
attacking.
They're probably Democrats. What do you expect?
You're
I'm
very
more than a
skilled,
Democrat.
Joel,
I'm a
at
socialist.
generalizing. You're very skilled
That's
at
how you
insulting
debate.
people.
The only way
You're
to
very
avoid ad
skilled.
hominem logical fallacy is to stick to strict generalizations. You
You're
never
very
attack your
skilled
opponent like
at
you guys do.
yeah,
You
yeah,
guys
no,
lost
you
this
are.
debate.
No, you're
You
very
guys lost
skilled
this
at
debate.
that.
You
'Cause
got that, and I
like
appreciate it too. You guys proved everything I've said. You've proved atheists cannot understand logic.
yeah, and that's why you're the one who's
Like
getting
even
attacked
Socrates
all the
says.
time.
Even Socrates said that at the debate of the losers or slander is the tool
Okay, hold
of
on.
the
So you're just a dumb
inadvertently,
idiot.
not
So
so
why don't you
inadvertently
just go?
Funny how you're the one who's getting attacked all the time,
No, it's
Joel.
not.
I wonder why that is.
Because they
Go
cannot
cry.
stop talking.
Go
Because
cry.
they
Don't
love
pull
the
the
sound of their
microphone
own
out.
voice.
Cry.
Okay,
Go
I
cry.
have a question. Okay, so Joel, I actually
Now it's
am
getting
leading.
heated.
Can I speak, please?
Yeah,
No,
I got
I'm
the
Real
sorry.
quick.
Yes,
I've
you
been
may,
quiet this
ma'am.
entire
No, you
freaking
can't.
time.
You
Give
can't.
me a
Yes, you
moment.
may.
You're an idiot like every other
Just a
person that's not an
moment,
atheist.
Just a moment. Okay, so I am more along the lines of what I hesitate to call you, Brenda, because you have a very masculine voice. However, what you're saying about agnosticism, and maybe you can help more calmly explain it to me, because I agree that to me they're not making definitive statements, atheistic statements, if they say they don't know. I don't understand how you arrive at that.
Well,
That they're saying that they
agnosticism-
By
absolutely
simply
that they're
positing that.
Right. So
that they're saying
agnosticism-
that God. Hang on, dadgummit.
I was gonna
You've been
explain it
talking
to you.
forever. Let me have a chance.
Don't know is a negative statement.
No, what don't know means that they don't know. It's not they're saying they know that he doesn't. They're saying they
Right.
don't know whether he does or he doesn't. I'm just trying. I'm more
And that's-
along the lines of
I understand.
what Brenda
I
is
understand.
saying.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, you and I. That's the fallacy.
So,
Well,
so
To claim
if I
to
don't
not know something.
Maybe
means you
the
don't
reason
know.
why I'm asking it, and the reason why I'm going with what Brenda's saying, and more agreement with what Brenda's saying, is to try to help you also help me, not only help me understand, but
Right.
also explain it more calmly. I mean, my goodness, I want to hear an explanation.
You know me. You
Hey,
know
Joel.
that I can't tolerate bullies. I can't
Hey,
tolerate
Joel.
bigots.
Hey Joel.
So I get upset with bigots.
Hey Joel.
So I apologize for my upsetness
Hey,
from
Joel.
the bigotry.
Hey
I
Joel.
just
So-
want to hear a calm.
Right. So
response.
Hey,
the
Joel.
calm, rational explanation for the 10th time
Hey, Joel.
is that to be able to claim you don't know something requires that you claim you don't know it, or that you know
that
it's
you don't know
Hey,
it.
Joel.
Not that you know that it doesn't exist. That you
Hey,
don't know
Joel.
whether it does or
it's
not.
a negative
Hey
position.
Joel. Joel.
To not know something means
Are
you
gonna,
know
are you gonna
it
answer?
doesn't
Joel.
exist.
Joel.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, you can wait, Brenda.
I just wanted to ask you a question.
Bully.
I just want to ask you a
No,
question.
you don't. No, I'm too
If-
much of an
if I
idiot,
don't know
Brenda.
something-
I'm too stupid to be able to answer
Yeah,
you because
cry
your
harder.
religion's better than mine.
Joel's
I'm-
not
I'm
the-
a-
I'm offended.
Oh.
I have
Get a
every
tougher
right to be
skin.
upset, be calling an effing moron by a religious
Get a
fanatic,
tougher-
by an
get a
atheist
tougher
religious
skin.
fanatic.
I have.
You
I
can't even
had to-
apologize. You're so uncivilized.
I've had to
Oh,
get
I
a tougher
tried.
skin.
You
should
did.
Too.
I wanted
So-
to have an explanation, and all I'm getting
so
is
here's
more
the
forgetting
Well, if
me.
Brenda
Joel.
can stop
Joel.
proving my points for me and
Joel.
apologize, maybe we could.
No,
Joel.
I didn't do anything wrong.
I didn't say you. I said Brenda.
Joel.
And I just repeated my
But
explanation.
it doesn't
Hey,
make
Joel.
any sense.
To
Hey,
claim
Joel.
you don't know something requires not knowing it.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly.
Joel.
Not
Right.
knowing it, not knowing that something doesn't exist, but that you don't know whether it does or not.
Not knowing something means you know that it's a negative position that you
Well,
know it
it's
doesn't
not-
exist.
It's not a positive
So-
position. It's a more, neutral position. But
Your
I
wife
don't
is
think it's
correct,
saying
Joel.
that-
Listen
And
to your
logic
wife.
cannot have a neutral
she's
position.
on my side, Joel. She's on my
That's
side.
correct.
It's not,
That's
I'm leaning
correct.
toward your
You're right,
position
Brenda.
because It makes better sense.
Logic
Joel?
cannot have a neutral position.
Joel?
Logic always requires a true-false statement. Always.
Because
See, and
it's
I
a
believe
different
that there are
subject,
great
Joel.
areas in life.
Joel, if I don't know something, do I know it?
No, you know it doesn't.
No,
Do I know?
they
If I don't know something, do I know it?
No.
Correct. So before,
And I don't
you
say
said-
that. I don't-
you-
you're-
yes, you
you're-
did.
you're twisting
You said
words.
I had
You're-
to
you're creating
not
a-
know that I had to know that something
Right.
doesn't exist in order to claim that I don't know it exists.
So that's a straw man
contradiction.
fallacy because I never
That's
said
what you
that.
said.
Nope. To
Yes,
not
it is.
to claim to not know something means that you know that it's not
That's what
possible,
you
or
said.
that you claim the negative
That's what
position.
he's saying.
I agree, Brenda.
correctly.
No, he's
I
not.
agree.
Okay, now I'm thoroughly confused because again, I don't know. Just to me, simply means I don't know. It doesn't mean that you know. It means that you don't know.
But again,
Exactly.
so
That's
logic
exactly
Joel
requires
wants to
correct.
claim
positive,
that you
negative
have to know in
positions
order
only.
to claim that you don't know.
Yeah, you
Right.
exactly.
Exactly.
So for
you don't know.
So for a religious agnostic to exist, they have to literally leave the room and plug their ears. They can't even pretend
No.
to
That's
claim to
not,
know or
They
not know.
just don't
that's
So
know.
not
for
necessarily true.
a religious
An
agnostic
agnostic
is
just
always
doesn't know,
atheist
Joel.
because they doubt God exists well enough to claim he doesn't.
Joel, an agnostic just doesn't know.
That's right. Now, I'll say this, okay? There are intellectually indolent agnostics that will say they don't know and then walk away, like Joel just described. That's not right. I mean, we should all be seeking the truth. But there are some of those that don't know. They honestly don't know, and they would like to try to find out. And I would venture a guess, and I apologize if I'm putting words or positions in your guys' mouths that don't exist. But why
No,
are they
I'm
here talking
in
with
total
us?
agreement.
Because
To
they
push-
want to
I'm in agreement.
understand.
No, they're wanting to push their atheist
You're
religion.
the
Well,
only
let's
one here,
assume the
Joel,
benefit of the doubt,
who's
huh?
confused about this.
Well, you've already claimed that you're an atheist, Brenda, because
I
you said
agree. I
that
think,
there's better
Joel,
evidence
your wife
against God than
agrees
for
with
God.
us. Your
Yeah.
wife agrees with what we're saying. I think the
No,
other one that's confused. Truly,
she's
I
just trying to
agree.
get you guys to
Well, and
listen.
I'm trying to understand too because I honestly don't understand.
No,
And what they are saying makes more sense currently to me. So
Right.
if you could better explain.
Well,
that's
I did.
correct.
What would you say? What do you think
That's
about my
what
explanation? Did you even hear it?
agnosticism is.
What did you think about it?
I think that again that saying I don't know does not require that you know beforehand, or else there'd be no point in saying I don't know to begin with.
So how does that
That's
fit with
not saying
with the
the
logical
opposite.
statement?
It's
Pardon?
not saying the opposite. That's exactly what you're just saying. You're not
So,
claiming the opposite. You're claiming you don't know. That's
so,
it.
so I,
Simple.
I, I took a
Yeah.
logic class 20 years ago, and so
Wow.
logic always requires true-false statements. So how does an agnostic
Because
non-true,
it's
non-false statement fit
epistemic
in a
rather-
logical statement?
Because it's epistemic and not ontological.
No, it's basic logic. How
That's
does a
correct.
how does
you
a
didn't
non-true
understand those
false statement
words,
fit into a
but
true
it's-
false statement?
Because it's agnosticism
You listening to me,
is
Kelly?
epistemic.
I'm trying to listen
It's
to all of
about
you.
But
the status of
they're just talking over
knowledge.
me right now. They're
I'm
just
trying
being
to
religious
answer your
hypocrites. They don't really
question.
want to know.
I'm trying
They want to
answer your
bully and talk
question.
over me and then claim that I
Right.
talk over them. They don't really want to.
Brenda's
I'm trying to
trying
ask
to
that question.
respond, Joel, and now you're crying again. Oh my God.
See,
So you believe
We're just
Those
trying to have a
bullies.
there is only
conversation,
yes or
Joel.
no,
That's
right?
all.
logic does. Logic says you can only have true false.
Do you realize that we
Within a
live in a
spe-
world that isn't always
within
so
a
black and
particular
white?
Well, yeah,
scale.
you can have blind religious beliefs and say you don't know, and then divert and get away from logic, get away from science, and just bury your head in the sand. That's what.
Well,
That's the only
there's
way
a lot of
agnostics can
things-
actually exist in a religious
There's
statement.
a lot of things that all of us don't know in life because
Well,
none
we're
of
not talking
us
about things
can
in
know.
general. We're talking about God.
Well, but that's the point. Is that with people that don't yet believe in God, they
Right.
they can't know yet. You know what I mean?
Well-
and that's what I don't know means. Is
But
that
you
You're
just proved my
absolutely
point.
right,
So
Mrs. Joel. You're
people that
absolutely
claim
correct.
that they don't know God, as you just said, that means they know God not. They know God doesn't exist. That's why they don't know God.
Okay, help me if I'm really going off base here when I say this, okay? Because I'm not terribly sure about what I'm about to ask in the first place.
Well,
So
then think about it further
again,
first, then.
we're human beings, and we're going to go through life not knowing a great deal of information.
Sure.
Would that mean that we are total friggin' ignoramuses and have no knowledge in anything because we don't know a lot of areas?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, we are. We're
Wrong,
Because all
wrong.
of us
No,
are
your
we are-
wife is
We
We
correct.
don't know anything, and that reminds me of the
absolutely
old
correct.
Russian question in the Russian Academy. They asked the professors, "How much do you think that we don't know about the universe?" And they'll start 1%, 2%. You're like, how do you know what you don't know? You know?
Well, that's the point here. How can they know what they don't know? You just answered the whole question.
No, that's just it.
Yes,
That's
So
right.
they
That's the
claim
whole
that
point.
they doubt
Yes,
God
Joel.
exists
Yeah.
requires knowing that God
You
doesn't
just
exist.
answered
That's
it,
the whole
Joel.
point.
You just answered
That's
it,
Yeah,
right.
Joel.
sorry, but yeah, you did just answer
No.
it, darling.
You
Yes,
did.
you did.
You did.
You did.
Again,
Yes, you
because
did.
so
You have three people
religious
that agree.
agnostics simply can't exist. You can be agnostic about other things, like I said. So like a network server, for example,
Is it possible
that
for
requires
somebody to
authentication.
not
It
know
can be
something?
agnostic on what kind of protocol is being used because it doesn't care what your protocol is. Or different satellite lens technology, for example. There's certain wavelengths that a satellite can be filtered for, and when you don't want to, you want to get an unfiltered view, you say, okay, well, I want to get an agnostic. I don't care. It's not about I don't know or not. It's about I don't care. So for a religious agnostic to exist, that's saying I don't care if God exists or not.
They may
No, that's not
actually
what they
care.
say.
They may actually be in this channel because they care. So again, I believe in I don't know. Okay, I believe that is a reasonable position to have. The only time that I believe that it's unreasonable, and this is just a personal belief, that's all it is when people engage in intellectual indolence, where they are uninterested in knowing and finding out the truth. They just rest their laurels on I don't know, and that's good enough.
And they don't
them.
care, right? And that is
That's
what I
where
think.
I have a problem.
That's true agnosticism. But regardless, guys, to really get back to the crux of things, you guys have already confessed, or at least Brenda has, that you know God doesn't exist because you've got evidence to the contrary.
No, because there's
Nobody
lack of
says
evidence.
that. There's your
Yes, you
problem,
did.
Joel. You're
You
not
said
putting
evolution
away.
proves that God doesn't exist.
You
That you
have
don't
to
need
I
put
never
your
God.
said
biases aside, Joel. You have to put your biases aside. You keep bringing
Well,
that up.
Yeah, I
And
never
we're
Just
not
clarify
saying
it
that.
then.
I never said
We're not
evolution
saying that.
proves God.
That's what I heard
never
you say,
said-
that
no, that you
evolution, evidence of evolution shows that you don't need God. Am I wrong?
No, I said that evolution accounts for the origin of the human species.
Mm-hmm. Right,
That's
and so you
correct.
didn't need God, and so that's where you asked if there is evidence for God. And I tried to ask to give you a few, and you told me that there can't
Do
be
you have
evidence
any
for
evidence
God.
for God?
I started again. I went off of a half a dozen different people
your-
that started
what's your
new fields
best-
of science that
what's your
showed that. In
best
fact,
one?
I like to argue that all fields of science,
What's the
from
best
Mendel's genetics to Planck's quantum physics, every single field of
What's the
science
best
was started by the
evidence?
scientists that presented their scientific evidence for God, starting that field.
What's your best
But regardless, you've already made the statement that you know God doesn't exist because of a naturalistic,
I'm saying
evolutionary
no,
religious
I'm
belief.
saying that there is no evidence for God to exist, and therefore,
Well, how do you know?
Well, there isn't. I haven't come across any evidence for God to exist.
So, again, that's what's called an appeal to ignorance logical fallacy, to claim
No, that's not
something
an
can be
appeal
true or
to
false
ignorance.
based on a lack of evidence. That is appeal to ignorance. You're saying,
it's
okay,
not.
no,
It's not appeal to
I
ignorance.
don't know any evidence yet. So that's the thing. That's the difference between theists and atheists. That's why Einstein complained that atheists can't be scientists. So, again, the scientific method is strictly a theistic viewpoint,
No,
in
it's
that
not.
we don't just say there's no evidence. We go find the
scientific
evidence.
view is
Even
secular.
after I'm still talking, dude. Even after
but
we
you
think
just
we've got
spout
good evidence, we've got
nonsense.
good experimentation that verifies our hypotheses, even after we think we've got good evidence, we continue to look regardless. We never stop looking. Because like I quoted Planck earlier, even if you think that physical law exists, it
another
doesn't
appeal to
guarantee that we have no
authority.
right to assume that it's going to continue to exist the way it is. That's science.
so
And that's what
science
you
is
left.
not
You said
the-
since you don't have evidence, therefore no.
Science is not theistic; it's secular.
Yes, it is.
No,
It's
not.
absolutely
It's
theistic.
secular.
No, all scientific fields were started by theists. All
That
of them.
doesn't mean that's a genetic
Yes, it
fallacy.
is. It's a complete theistic.
That's a genetic fallacy.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. You don't know what
No,
that
genetic
means.
fallacy is where you claim somebody must believe a certain thing because that's where they're born and raised from. That's what aitheists always
That
use their
means-
fallacy about.
So
You're a
it's
Christian
the
because
more
you were
gen-
born that way. That's
the
genetic
more
fallacy.
The more general version of that is that X is true
Ah.
because of its origin, and so you're saying that science is theistic because it originated with theists. That's a genetic.
Well, there's no such
fallacy.
thing as a secular origin. There's only theistic or atheistic viewpoints.
That's not true.
Sure, there is.
Yeah, it is. It is.
No,
I mean,
and in fact, we
you
can
know,
even go
it
further
is
on a
fact
historical
that-
or political
that
scale,
there
even
are
that
secular disciplines.
demonstrates how secular nations can and only have ever existed thanks to a plural or majority Christian nation, from America to Iceland to Sweden. All those nations were majority Christian, and therefore that's how they became secular. And other
well,
nations like China and
this
North
is your-
Korea
this
are
is
not
your
secular
nonsense.
because they're majority atheist.
This is your nonsense. So science.
No,
is
it's not.
secular.
It's a point that you
It is-
reject.
it
Like
is-
you reject
is
science.
independent of whether or not.
No, it's not.
Any theistic claims are true or not.
Incorrect. That's why Einstein himself and many others, they talk about you have to have science and religion together
So that's
to
just
be able
an
to look for
appeal
the
to
truth.
authority again. All you ever do is
No,
make
it's an
appeals
explanation.
to-
You're
No,
just
it's
rejecting
not.
what other people think.
Appealing to authorities doesn't explain anything.
No,
That's why
incorrect.
it's a
I apologize.
fallacy.
That's a lie. That's false. Appeal to authority fallacy only occurs when you say something must be true because someone said it.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm not
what
saying
you've
that
been
Einstein.
doing. That's exactly.
I'm not
what
saying
you've
that
been
Einstein.
doing. That's exactly
I'm not
what
saying
you're
that it's true
doing.
because Einstein said
Yes,
it.
it
I'm just trying to
is.
share
That's
substantiation,
exactly what
and
you've
I
been
can make other
doing.
quotes and references to show how and why religion and science go
No,
together,
but
as
you've
Einstein
been
and others have
saying
said.
blah 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 because such and such Einstein or Planck or somebody said so. That's exactly what you've been doing. That's
Right,
exactly the
just
appeal
like
to
what you do.
authority.
You say
No, I
that
don't.
God's
I
not
appeal
true
to the
because evolution
science.
says so.
Yeah, that's appealing to the science.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
There's no
is.
science in that. And regardless, all of
Evolution is a
your supposed
science.
science comes from other scientists that you would claim as your authority on evolution and whatnot.
No, I'm
You are doing what
appealing
you're
to the.
accusing me of.
I'm appealing to the scientific consensus.
No, you're not. You're appealing. You're
Yes, I
appealing to
am.
your own authorities.
No, I'm
And there is
not.
no scientific community.
Yes, there is.
No, there's
What are you
not.
talking about?
You can be a
There's
scientist and not be in their community.
That reminds me
There
of
are
the old,
thousands of
Vatican.
scientists. It's a community of people
No,
that
my
contribute.
wife's right. You're doing what
I can't
modern
hear her
atheists
over
are
you.
doing precisely what the ancient Vatican did. That only your church can say what's science or not.
Right.
I didn't say that.
Atheist religious fanatics.
I didn't say
call 'em.
that.
Yes,
I
you
said
did.
that
You
there
said
is
only
a-
your church can be true.
No, I
They-
didn't. I didn't
Only
say that.
only your beliefs can be scientific.
That's
only
not
your
what I
community
said.
can be scientific.
I said that there is a scientific community. It exists. That's what I said.
And it's irrelevant. Again,
No, it's
you and I
relevant
can be
to what we're
scientists.
talking about.
Are we
I'm
the part of the
appealing-
same community or
I'm
not,
appealing
Brenda?
to the scientific consensus. You are making appeals
Okay.
to authority.
No, there is no such thing as scientific. Once someone says there's consensus in science, that's the moment they left
Yeah,
science.
there is
All
a
I've done
consensus.
is show how there is other beliefs outside of your religious belief that science requires religion, and I simply cited a source. And I can
No,
go
you-
on many
No,
others.
you cited the fact that many of the early scientists were theists. That's literally a genetic fallacy.
Well, I go further than that, as a matter of fact. I said that all of science, all scientific fields, started from theists. So, since
Yeah, that's
theists are the
literally
ones
an
that
appeal-
are
that's
causing and
literally an
perpetuating and
genetic
creating
fallacy.
the science that you pretend to understand or whatever, therefore they do have theistic origins.
So what?
Well, then stop disagreeing with it.
Disagreeing with what?
Stop arguing against what you just agreed with. That's the
Disagreeing-
point.
What am I disagreeing with?
You want to. Your claim is that science can only be secular or atheistic, which is false.
No, I'm saying that science
Yes, it is.
secular.
That's what you said.
Science
when you
is
said
secular.
science is secular, that's your
I
claim that
didn't
science
say
can't
it's
be theistic.
I didn't say it was atheistic. I
Well,
said
that's
secular.
the inference.
Science-
Secular
science
means
is
non-theistic.
neutral. Science is neutral with regard to
Oh,
large,
so you just claimed atheism is a
large-
religion because atheism is not neutral. Okay,
Yeah,
nice.
atheism is not neutral. It's sort
Yeah.
of a philosophy. It's not
Yeah.
a religion.
It is a religion.
No, it's not.
I thought what he said.
It's very religious. Atheists are the
Atheism
biggest fanatics
has
on the
no
religious
code.
fanatics on the
It
planet.
has no
It's
sacred
definitely
text.
a religious position, no question about
Yeah.
that. It is
No,
a
it
religious
absolutely
Yeah,
is.
it's the
She's
negative
an idiot.
religious position on the same
Yes.
exact question that theism answers in the positive. As simple as that.
I understand.
Basic logic. It's frustrating how they don't teach logic anymore in schools.
But I still,
I
I'm
take
still not
logic
with you
at
on
the
the whole
university
agnosticism.
level.
We'll
I
we'll talk
actually know
about that
what I'm
later.
talking
You agree
about.
with me like less than a month ago.
No, no, I haven't agreed.
All right, we'll go over it later.
Because I still think that
yeah,
I don't know is
beat
a
it out of
valid
her.
answer, and as long as the truth is being sought.
Okay.
I agree with that, Brenda.
What's that, darling?
Oh, he's just agreeing with this. He's a religious person.
So,
He's giving his amen.
so the problem is
Is something wrong with that, or?
No,
Is
just pointing it out. I was
discussing-
answering her question.
this
Okay.
issue is extremely difficult because you're a very combative person.
Not really.
Yes,
I'm
you
just being.
actually
You're
are.
walking on me and calling me combative.
Yeah, you are very combative.
You're actually being combative and then claiming
yes,
that I am.
Yes, I am in response to you.
No, I'm the one that's trying to just not be talked
No,
over and be bullied.
That's not true. So you're
This
the
is
one
very
that
true.
came in here swinging. So
No, it's not. Just
I
because I
swung
might
back.
talk a little more frustrated,
swing
all
back.
that's because I don't like to tolerate bullies like you, man.
Uh-huh.
That's it. And you can't even apologize for calling me an effing
No.
moron. So you have no
That's
no
right.
moral authority to judge me,
Right.
dude. You are what you claim I am. You are it.
Yeah,
You are
just
you
try
are
harder. Try harder.
you are the jerk.
It's the
You are
internet.
you
It's
are
the internet.
you are the
Try
less
harder.
whatever you call it. You are the one that thinks everybody who disagrees with you is a moron, a effing moron.
No,
And
I
you can't
don't.
even realize that. You are so inhuman that you don't care about how you treat others
Big
and how your
purple
bigotry,
tears. Big
your
purple
religion
tears.
forces you to be a bigot towards those who disbelieve
Big
you.
Purple tears. You poor thing.
Okay, as long as we acknowledge and everybody can
how will
see
you
the,
do-
the
how will you
evidence
recover?
that atheists in general are a bigot.
How will you recover? You poor thing.
No,
will
I'm
you
not. There's
ever
nothing.
recover?
I'm glad. I appreciate you proving my argument.
Poor
Hey,
thing.
Thank
can I
you,
make a
feel so
Brenda.
point?
bad for
Like,
you.
No, thank you, Brenda.
You poor thing. How will you
Yes,
ever manage?
thank
Oh
you.
my God.
Thank you for
It is
confirming
just so
Einstein's complaint that
terrible.
atheists cannot be scientists.
Oh
Thank you.
dear. Hot purple tears dripping down
See,
the
you're
cheek.
using what's called emotional reasoning now. You think you can say I'm having purple tears will
231.
mean anything. You're a
Hot
bully.
purple tears.
You're a bigot.
Okay, can we get past?
Yes,
this
we
part?
as soon as he stops being a
can't.
bigot, we've never had a conversation. All
You
these
can't
guys
have
can say is that
conversa- you've
evolution
never
proves
been
God
able-
exists or
I
does
just-
not
we just
exist.
had
I
a
never
conversation
said
with him
that.
a few moments ago.
Mrs.
Yeah, now
Joel,
now
can
he's
I
back
ask
to
you a
calling saying I
question?
got purple tears.
Can I ask Mrs. Joel a question? If you listen to the tone of voices here, I mean, in my
Oh,
opinion, you listen to the tone of voices of, Brenda is truly trying to have a calm
yeah.
conversation, and I
Calling
listen
people effing morons.
to.
Yeah, I
No,
see that.
hey, I don't disagree with that, Joel. That wasn't very
Well, get
nice. I
on to
don't
Brenda, not
disagree with
me,
that.
please.
Okay, I'm just trying to make a point that we're just trying to have a civil conversation, and I think
Right.
you've been fired up for hours, Joel. You need
Right.
to
You're
relax.
attacking me instead
And
of the actual bully, right? I know.
no,
I think
I'm
that
just saying, I'm making a point. You're just trying to have a civil, calm
I
conversation,
am, but
and
not
if
Brenda.